for a garden to be successful, there's just certain concepts that we want to master. And if you skip any one of these concepts, you could be headed for a disaster. So once you master these concepts, then your garden can be easy, fun, and productive. So the concept I want to talk about today is light. Light is very important when growing vegetables. So without enough light, there's not going to be any produce. So there's 3 things that I consider in regards to light that the garden will get. So first is the hours of daylight. So when picking the location of the garden, light is the first consideration. So I want to be sure that the garden gets as much light as possible. And I like to choose a site that has full day sun. So if the sunlight is too intense, I can always add shade if needed. It's easier to add shade to the plants than to try to bring in more light. So you want to really think about your location first. Second is plant variety. So I consider which plants I'm going to grow. So most vegetables require full day sun, while others can tolerate or require some shade. So the plants that like full sun are beans and broccoli and cabbage and cauliflower and corn and cucumbers and eggplants and melons and leeks and okra and onions and peas and peppers and potatoes and pumpkins and squash and sweet potatoes and tomatoes. So the list is really long. The vegetables really like light. So the plants that can tolerate partial shade are celery, carrots, herbs, kale, lettuce, radishes, spinach, Swiss chard, and turnips. And I don't really know of any vegetable that will grow in all shade, but if you're going to try some, the best would be the greens or the herbs. All right, the next thing to consider is your climate and your afternoon temperature. If you live in a really harsh climate where the temperatures soar above 100 degrees in the afternoons, and your plants, even though they like full sun, they may want some shade in the afternoon. So I use some shade cloth on one of those, one of our easy trellises. So let me show you what that looks like. Alrighty, so I'm going to show you some of my shade cloth. This is my like 40% shade cloth. You can see that it's fairly dense. And what you want to do with your shade cloth is you want to have some kind of wire or trellis or something to hold the shade cloth up. So these are easy trellis systems. This is in its lowest position, which is just to shade the short plants. And then we can put it up to 6 feet tall. And you would just basically, this just lays over the top of it, and then you can clothespin it or tie it to it. And the other one I have is, this is my 20% shade cloth. And you can see that it's got a lot more holes. I wouldn't shade more than a 40%. I do like the 20%. It can knock out just enough light. But you're going to have to experiment with it just a little bit to see what works best for your plants. And you just go ahead and you want to go ahead and just put it over whatever kind of system that you have. Alright, so shade cloth works really well if you're needing to cut some of that light. Shade cloth does come in black too, but I don't care for the black. I would rather go for the white or the green. And the easy trellis design, if you would like to build some of the easy trellises, you can get the plans on our website for free. It's thelivingfarm.org/easy-pvc-tomato-trellis-part-1. We'll put the link on the screen and below so that you guys can get there and build some of these trellises. They're amazing. Some examples of how I would use that. If I lived in Arizona, Phoenix area where you're getting so hot in the afternoon, I would definitely put that shade cloth on. You may even want it on for the full day down there because you're going to get enough light intensity and heat for the plants. And then one of my cousins lives in South Texas, and for her I would put the shade cloth on so it's cutting the west sun. So it gets the east morning sun, and then you're letting that plant cool off a little bit in the late afternoon. So I select my location, I select the proper plants for that location, and then, like I say, if you live in the harsher climates, you want to consider some shade protection. And then I will plant the garden, and then I'm going to observe the results. So here's what I'm looking for to determine how my plants are doing. First, are the leaves faded or burned? So you want to take a look at the color of the leaves. If they are faded or burned, then definitely some afternoon shade on those plants. and see if that helps. So you're going to just have to go through a process of trial and error. Second, is the plant stretching? If the plants are stretching because of lack of light, you'll want to pick a different location next season, or pick a plant that takes lower light. So I had this one area where I had some squash plants growing, and they weren't growing very well. So the following year I switched that out for some greens, and it did really well there. So sometimes you may have to just change the plant location. The third thing is the plant fruiting properly. So warm weather vegetables like tomatoes and squash and melons, they're not going to fruit unless they're getting enough sunlight. So if your plant is pretty and green but not fruiting, you need to see how much sunlight it's getting. So if you're just getting morning sun on those type of plants, you're probably not going to see much fruit. So once you figured out the best location for your garden, then use your observational skills to see how your plants are reacting to the amount of light that they're getting. And this is the way that you're going to be able to figure out where's the best location in your yard. So if you'd like to learn more about high-performance gardening and the garden concepts that lead to success, go ahead and go to our website, thelivingfarm.org, and there's articles, videos, and eCourses that can help you on your way to success.
If you want to learn how to grow $2,500 worth of organic produce with only a 15-minute-a-day commitment, sign up for the High Performance Garden Show. There are hundreds of episodes chock full of my best gardening secrets that I have learned over the last 3 decades. Go to thelivingfarm.org/high-performance-garden-show. It's free and online. Also, if you want to join the premier online community of people who grow food, medicine, and build resilient communities, join us today at thegrownetwork.com. Thanks so much for watching. May your garden be easy, fun, productive, and always organic.